question from our viewer, and he was asking, according to your experience, what do you think? Do people imitate actors? And in our past, there were a lot of actors who committed suicide or attempted suicides. So, what do you think about this point?
Yeah, I do believe that you're saying, do people imitate actors just like to like, yeah, I do believe that we are living in a society where, I mean, people watch TV more than any other activity, right? So whatever you watch, you kind of almost want to imitate in a way, right? And you become like you want to do it all the time. So I think the industry kind of shapes the way society, kind of goes. It shapes what we should look like, what's trending, what's not trending. For examples, I mean, you have so many people that are looking up to, Kim Kardashians, and there's so many people that want to be these people, and kind of first I think that it's like a disconnect with reality. They want to live what they see because it's so glamorous, or it's presented in such a way where it's like, believe this false narrative. This is what I look like 24/7, and it's not real life. It's not real. And unfortunately, we definitely we live in a time now that media is such a powerful force. Celebrities are such a powerful force. So I think it's really important that as a celebrity or someone has a platform, we have to remember to keep those positive, like to be honest with our viewers and let them know, like, look, I'm just human. I'm just like you. I go through things, and but yeah, that's that's just kind of how what
Okay. So there is this question. If they are saying they also carry the baggage of mental health problem. जो कि, if an actor is suffering from mental health problem, they have a lot of issues. They have a lot of societal pressures. They don't enjoy their personal life. So how, being the director, have you seen anybody who has been in this problem, and how they cope up with this problem?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think when you have such a huge platform, and you have kind of such a big responsibility to kind of be perfect all the time for people that look up to you. So it can be a lot, it could be jarring. It could be tough sometimes to always be, yay, I'm great, I'm good, and yeah, it's unfortunate that but fame, I think that's what comes with that, what comes with fame and being famous. Like I have a few friends that are on TV, and they tell me, it's tough to always be okay, because sometimes I'm not okay, and people don't really consider asking me, how are you doing? How are you feeling? What are you going through? They just want an autograph or want a picture when they see me, and it can be a lot sometimes. So yeah.
So it's more like, I'm a therapist. So whenever I get upset on something, people start asking me this question, oh, you're a psychologist. How can you stay upset? I mean, I'm a human being too. So this is the only answer I have, that, we must consider that our profession is our profession. But at the end of the day, we're just human beings, right?
Yes.
So
absolutely.
there is this questions. What do you think? How many stars in Hollywood committed suicide, and what were the reason? And can you name a few stars who have committed suicide?
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many, right? There's so many stars that committed suicide. As of recently, Nia Rivera from Glee, Ryan Murphy's show, she committed suicide, and that was so sad. She's so young. And I mean, there's been a lot of people. Chester Bennington from Lincoln Park, he hung himself. I mean, it was just, there's so many people that committed suicide. And I think for Nia Rivera, I think the reason was, you would think, sitting back, us just like looking at this and saying, why did they do that? They seemingly have the world, right? They're famous, they're on TV, they're living their best lives. What is it that, what's missing? And we see that time to time. I think it's so much pressure. It's such an immense amount of pressure.
That's true.
To handle fame. I'm not like famous, but I've worked with a lot of famous people, so I do feel the pressure sometimes. Like when an actor's on camera, they're front and center, right? They are the people. Luckily, I get to be behind the scenes, so I'm not seen as much. So it's not
Yeah.
that big a responsibility, but it is pressure because you have to be like, you know, good all the time, and it's just
Yeah.
not something that you can do. But Nia Rivera sadly took her life, and her left her son behind. So it was such a sad story, and I think it was she was due like depressed, a lot of relationship issues. A lot of her stuff was out in public in the news, and it just kind of got to her, I guess.
Yeah. So, how it is affecting our youth? And lately I've been dealing with clients, especially in quarantine. So I have seen people using a lot of Instagram and Netflix and Amazon and YouTube's everywhere. They're watching different things, and whenever they used to see a program which used to have killing or suicidal ideation or suicides or depressive thoughts or any disorder related to mental health problem, they used to claim that we feel more depressed and we feel like doing the same thing. And
Yeah.
that was sometimes that was so tricky that arts is playing a really good role. Arts can tell us how to cope with the problem, and it can also tell us how to do that problem with ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
it's it's one and the same thing, I believe. So, how media and arts can play a positive role in suicide prevention? Can you give us any example, like with any movie, who is good if you're suffering from something like this?
Yeah, there's a really good show called Atypical. Have you seen it? It's really
Yeah,
good.
yeah, it
Love the show. My friend's daughter is on the show, and I
is.
just
Oh,
like watched it. I was like, oh my God, this is such a great show. So timely, and it's such a positive image. You have this kid who's has autism, who's kind of like socially awkward in school, but he's still young and he's going through high school and he's dealing with all these difficulties you see, but he's also coping and he's living his life. Like you can live somewhat of a normal life, even you know, with this, going through the situation. So I think that's such a positive image to see, and I think we need more of that, in television.
okay. So, can you give, you have already given us one example already, I remember, about coping up with mental health issues. So there's this question, um can you enhance can you tell us about any movie who is or which is destigmatizing the concept of depression or suicide or mental illness?
Yeah, there's a few movies actually. Have you seen The Pursuit of Happiness?
Yeah,
Will Smith.
that's
I feel like that's such a great movie. And it's also a true story. So which actually makes it more like, oh man, not only it's a movie, but this actually happened to a person where this character, he's lost everything. He has a kid, son, and he's trying to figure out how to just be a part of society. And, he's lonely, he's depressed, he has all these things that he's going through, kind of like pressures really, and he finally overcomes them towards the end. So that was like, oh, man, that scene at the end was just, oh, I love that movie. But there's also another film called with Bradley Cooper. I think it was, oh God, it was like his character gets out of a mental facility, and he basically falls in love with this woman, and it's kind of like, wow, he's balancing this illness or these social like awkward situations of how he like gets along with people, but he also falls in love. So it's like, oh, you can actually live a normal life, and it's not like even though he's going through these difficulties with having mental illness, he's still living a positive life, and I think it's called the Silver Lining Playbook. Yeah, the Silver Lining Playbook.
yeah that's Yeah,
Very good.
exactly. That's the movie you're talking about. Okay,
Yeah.
there is this movie I remember, in which there is this mental disorder, the bow. I guess there was
Yes.
this movie.
I heard
and
about.
how beautifully it is beautifully portrayed. And there is this TV show I was crazy about lately in past summers. It was Big Little Lies, and they talked about four women who were suffering from family issues, and there are different problems, sexual assault. They've been feeling very sad. They've been feeling suicidal ideation was there. So at the end, how they were managing each and everything, being mentally upset and having a lot of mental issues. Still, the media is playing a wonderful role. At the same time, it is playing a role which is a little bit tricky to understand for people who
Yeah.
are sensitive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Meosha, can you tell me about your experience of life, that have you ever been through any such problem, if that is okay, totally,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
how you, yeah, and how you cope up with such situations when you get upset?
That's a good question. Um, I will definitely say I had when I first moved to LA,
Mm.
because I'm originally from Florida. I'm a country girl. Like I lived on the farm. We had
Oh,
cows and chickens.
wow.
So then I moved to LA, this big city, and the first thing I noticed coming to LA was the billboards, right? The beautiful people. It's all around, like you're bombarded with all these images, right? And so it does play a bit on your subconscious. Like I have to emulate this. I have to look like this in order to make it, quote unquote. Um, so that was like literally my first introduction to Hollywood, coming into Hollywood. So that was an immense amount of pressure. Then trying to figure out how am I going to work and how am I going to like maneuver in this industry, with the whole Me Too movement situation that's happening, where there's people that only hire you if you can, do them favors sexually. So there's that on top of, this immense amount of pressure to be perfect and look good all the time. And so I had to figure out ways to, I mean, I had some really bad situations. If you don't mind me going into detail, I'll talk about it.
Yeah, sure.
I get this audition. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's
I get on for a horror film, and yeah, basically I get there and audition, and the guy says, I like your role, I like your part. You're really good. But he says, what are you gonna do for me sexually? And I was like, is this how we have to like do this? And I ran out of the audition. I didn't get the role, sadly. And it was a popular production company. So for me, I had to find a community of people that were supportive and understanding, and like would talk about these situations. So that's for me, that's how I did it. I found a community of people that helped me understand how, like, it's going to be okay. Like, this is not everyone in Hollywood.
Oh, wow. And I believe you're already a superstar. You've been, in
Aw.
your life, if you're dealing with such situations and, you're finding out ways and you're coping up with things pretty well, I believe
Yeah.
this is how you are, and this is how you can work on yourself and you can challenge yourself to know yourself. So, Osha, I'm very proud of you. And
Thank
I'm
you.
at the same time, I'm very thankful to you that you made some time for me and for
Of
mental health.
course.
And it's such a pleasure talking to you. At
Me
the
too.
end of this show, I just want to know, or if you can give us any message or advice, so that our viewers can work on themselves and they can work on their suicidal ideation if they have it, and if they
Yeah.
don't have it, how they can cope up with such person who is dealing with such sort of issue.
Yeah. I think my only suggestion would just to be is find a community of people that are supportive, that are going to help you get better. Like, or if you don't feel like you know anyone, reach out to people, let them know, like, hey, I'm going through this, I'm feeling this kind of way. I Because there are people out there that do care, and there are good people out there that will help. Like I'm a testament of that. I don't think if I didn't reach out personally for myself, like to find that community, that support, um, that believed in me and wants to see me succeed, um, then I probably wouldn't be a filmmaker or where I am right now in my career. So I think it's all about community and being open and honest about what's going on in your life. And don't be afraid to, be vulnerable to tell people like, hey, I'm going through this situation. I need some advice. Or if you can't find anyone around, there's so many like sites online to reach out, like facilities to like look up and contact. I think making that first step is the step to getting a better and that's better direction of life. So that would be my advice.
Oh wow, that's wonderful. That's great. Thank you, Meosha, once again. And I'm
Thank you.
again very thankful to you. You're an amazing person. And everyone, my viewers, thanks for joining us and to listening for us. And next time, Meosha, I'll again invite you after some time with
Thank you.
another topic, and
Yeah.
I'll be honored to join me again. So